Hey motherfuckers, it's Affliction a long time. Anyways, last time Warden pissed me the fuck off, and we all know that if this little fucking swarm little wannabe is fucking Queen Chrysalis, cause we all know that bitch ass changeling. Last time, if you guys weren't here, I was a little bit upset if you can't fucking tell. Anyways, Swarm came back. Swarm quotation marks, put a spell on fucking Warden to break up with fucking Kuno, which is some straight up bullshit when Kuno is the one being the honest changeling here, the one that had a foe with him and all this shit. Then at the ending of that, Warden realized what a mistake he has made, hopefully, and he realized that whatever fake swarm put into his mind was fucking fake. And now, hopefully, he is going to confront this little liar. Also, if this is Queen Chrysalis, my only question is why. I thought she had shining armor. Unless she wants to fuck up Kuno, which probably makes sense. Anyways, guys, thank you all. Anyways, guys, let's just hop right in. Hey, outro, get out my mind. We're not done yet. I haven't even read anything. Confrontation. Let's just hop right into it. Warden panted heavily as he scooped another shovel full of dirt out of the hole, throwing it over his shoulder haphazardly. Sweat drenched the swarm under his armor, making it a sticky, hot, unpleasant mess. His eyes stung from the sweat drops falling under his helmet, and his hoof ached worse than he had ever felt. But something compelled him to keep digging, to keep scraping and pawing at the top of the coffin he had unearthed. Why are you wearing your armor while you're doing this? Like, why are you wearing your armor? Like, I know you need to check, cause you saw her. You saw her when she was in that coffin during the funeral. With a mighty heave, Warden threw out another large pile of dirt, panting hard for several long seconds, before quickly pawing at the dirt around the top of half of the coffin. The old oak was still dull and tarnished, even after so many years of being buried, but now finally he had managed to unearth enough of the coffin to reveal the entire top hatch. It could be opened. When it should be decayed. It's been 5 years, Warden, or more. Warden took a deep, steadying breath, reaching a shaking hoof for the edge of the coffin, and then heaving upwards, opening the casket. An absolutely terrible smell assaulted him, and he retched. Dirt fell into the coffin, displaced by the opening of the casket. Warden stared down into the casket, feeling bile raising in his throat and the blood pounding in his ears. The skeletal face of his ex-wife was visible, no more than a leering skull with patches of stretched skin clinging to the bones. Well, now you know that whoever manipulated your bitch ass is a fucking liar. Scrabbling out of the grave, almost tripping on the spear he had brought with him, Warden staggered several steps away, ripped off his helmet, and then vomited violently across the grass. Weak-limbed and shaky, sidestepped a few paces and then collapsed onto the ground, taking a deep breath, trying to control the sudden shaking of his body. His mind felt clearer than it did before. Good, Warden. Good. This is what we need. We need you in a clear state of mind right now. That wasn't Swarm. Swarm was dead and buried. A skeleton in a coffin, and the swarm in the ravine had been a changeling. Hey, what? That wasn't Swarm. Swarm was dead and buried. A skeleton in a coffin, and the swarm in the ravine had been a changeling, and he had been under its spell. I told you to come back to me, a honey sweet voice said. Warden looked up sharply, eyes narrowing at fake Swarm. Who are you? He managed to rasp out. I'm your savior, Swarm said with a smirk, stepping closer to him. Her horn glowing, a tendril of green magic snaked towards Warden. Warden stepped backwards, the wing lifted to shield himself. A series of metallic clicks were barely audible as the wing underlay stretched under the movements of his wing. The tendril of green magic hit his wing and then dissolved, while an amber half-spear was visible around Warden for a split second. What? Swarm spluttered. Magic deterrent, Warden said grimly, unflexing his wings. Standard attire for any Pegasus guard. Swarm's eyes narrowed slowly, and a low growl bubbled up out of her throat. Fine, I was going to let you live. I was going to keep you happy just so that I could destroy Kuno with the knowledge that I owned you, and she had no claim over you, but now I think I'll just deliver your head to her on a spike. A flash of green consumed fake Swarm, and when it faded, Chrysalis was setting in her place, lips pulled back, and a snarl of rage, green eyes flashing angrily. Yeah. Warden took a step backwards, swallowing thickly. His hind hoof came down on his spear, and he quickly snatched it up, readying it. Yep. We all knew it was Chrysalis, that little bitch. Chrysalis took a step forward, lowering her head to send a blast of green at him. Okay, where is Little Swarm at? Sidestepping quickly, Warden brought up his wing again, shielding himself, his teeth bared in pain as the feathers along his wings were scorched with a raw magical power, the smell of the burning pinions filling the air. Accurate and overpowering, but the magical shield held. The red gems inlaid in the underside of the wing brace glowed a vibrant, fiery red, glowing with all the magic they were absorbing, threatening to burn out. "Why are you doing this?" Warden asked, swapping to his other wing, deflecting another magical blast. The gems on the other wing brace started to glow just as brightly. "What do you think, idiot?" Chrysalis shrieked, bounding forwards and slashing at him with her horn. Warden was a little too slow to dodge, and a lance of pain ripped through him as the horn cut open his wing, scoring almost down to the bone. He snarled in pain, stepping backwards and giving a clumsy strike with the spear. The blow had no conviction behind it, though, glancing off of Chrysalis' tough chitin, barely mirroring its surface. 5 years I was locked in that dungeon," Chrysalis snarled, rounding on him and firing another blast from her horn. The gems on the wing brace glowed so bright they cast Warden in red light before they shattered one by one in a cascade failure, sending razor-sharp shards of superheated magical gems spraying across Warden's sides, sizzling against his fur. As the last gem was overloaded and broke, the full magical force hit Warden, sending him plowing into the ground like a giant fist had struck him. He bounced wildly across the grass, spear clattering from his grasp as he tumbled. Warden was momentarily unconscious, but only for a second. His eyes fluttered open in time for him to lift his left wing and attempt to ward off another magical blast from the angry queen. This one was more directed, and another spray of hot, overloaded gemstones assaulted him, burning his other side. He snarled in pain, teeth baring as he rose to his hoofs again, staggered towards his spear. Chrysalis snarled, charging him bodily, head lowered to gore him. Oh my fucking god. Twisted, Warden managed to deflect the blow, causing her horn to glance off his chest armor, leaving a long line in the armor before her full weight caught across his chest, lifting him off of his feet. Chrysalis twisted, using her superior size to slam Warden into the ground, smashing the Pegasus down on his back. Warden wheezed helplessly, gasping for air, completely winded by the violence of the slam. Snarling in triumph, Chrysalis straddled his form, a powerful forehoof grasping his own good hoof and pinning it to the ground. Warden struggled as he realized his peril too late. Even as the queen sat on his stomach, pinning him in place, his bad hoof pushed up at her chest, trying to push her away, weakly scrabbling at her chitin. "Poor, poor Warden," the broken Pegasus. "You picked a fight you can't win," Chrysalis cooed, lifting her free hoof and rather idly pushing it against his throat. Warden's eyes widened as a firm pressure was pushed against his throat, slowly growing in force, immediately cutting off his air supply. He gasped and struggled, spluttering, eyes bulging. "Give in, Warden," Chrysalis cooed, winning down on him, malice in her eyes. "Die like a good little weakling." She leaned closer to whisper into his ear softly. "When I'm done with you, I'm going to kill your wife, and then I'm going to turn you a little hybrid bitch. She'll be the most evil princess Equestria has ever seen." Oh, you are so dead after you said it. I'm hoping Warden is going to beat the fuck out of you. Even though he can't do shit at the moment, but you just called his daughter a little bitch. You're not gonna raise her at all. Fuck you. Warden struggled weakly, darkness gathering at the edges of his vision. He had only seconds before he passed out. "Give up, little fool," Chrysalis snarled, putting even more weight on his throat, grinning in wild triumph as Warden struggled helplessly beneath her. "Warden! Daddy!" Warden heard Kuno's voice in swarms, as though from very far away. He wasn't even certain that it was real and not just some figment of his imagination. A pair of magical blasts smashed into the ground nearby, and both Warden and Chrysalis were sent tumbling. The road rolled crazily around him, and Warden threw out a hoof to try and catch Purchase, ending up sprawled across the grass, coughing and hacking violently as he tried to catch his breath. Blood and oxygen flooded his brain again, dazing him. A figure reached his side, and he tried weakly to push her away, flailing ineffectually. "Warden, it's me," Kuno stressed, slapping at his face with her hoof hurriedly. "Warden, snap out of it." "Kuno," Warden gasped, raggedly, throwing his hoofs around her and pulling her close. I'm so sorry. It's Chrysalis. She's here." "I know, we have—" Kuno was cut off by a ringing blow from the side, sending her sprawling backwards, a trail of blue blood spilling from her mouth. Chrysalis quickly reversed her hoof, smashing Warden in the face, sending the Pegasus likewise rolling backwards, dropping onto his back clumsily, staring up at the sky. "Ah, how sweet. Now I can take care of you both," Chrysalis snarled, her horn lifting, glowing with a vibrant, terrifying green light. She looked back and forth between them, lips curling into a slow smirk. "Now, who for..." Chrysalis trailed off into a snarl of pain as a small black shape smashed into her back, staggering her just slightly, but the tiny jaws sinking into the base of her wing were far more damaging. Swarm, the half-pony, half-changeling hybrid, was almost unrecognizable. The soft fur and sleek mane and tail that usually comprised her form were gone, and in its place was a snarling, hissing creature covered in black chitin, and with a mouthful of razor-sharp fangs, glowing green eyes like her mother's in everything except color, narrowed down at her target as she sank her fangs into the base of the wing, tearing through muscle and touch, chitin alike. Ooh, so Swarm turned into a changeling. That's our little girl right now. That's a little girl. Come on. Come on, Swarm. You're here to protect your parents. You better. Technically, you're here to protect your dad, but you better protect both of them. Chrysalis snarled and tried to scrabble the little hybrid off, flailing a hoof back at her and bucking her hind legs in pain. She managed to grasp around one of Swarm's hind legs and tugged her away, throwing her clear, but the damage was already done. Blue... What? Ichor? Dribbled down her side, straining her smooth black chitin. The wing on the side hung lump, drooping to the ground, with a slick of blue slowly drooling down the underside. Oh, she's wounded. Haha! A sharp point touched at Chrysalis' nose, and she jerked backwards, becoming aware of Warden and Kuno again. Warden had reclaimed the spear, and it was holding it against her nose, while Kuno was picking her daughter up, gingerly brushing her off. Chrysalis gave a low, soft laugh. You think you can beat me? We could kill you, Kuno stated matter-of-factly. I could do it myself, Swarm squeaked, spitting out a glove of Chrysalis' blue blood. We could, Warden said flatly. I might do it just out of spite after what you tried to do. Well, the weakling has a spine after all, Chrysalis cooed, lifting a hoof to grasp the end of the spear. Holding it rock steady as her horn started to glow. Kuno beat her to the punch, though, sending a staggeringly powerful bolt of green magic directly into the queen's chest. Wait, what? Oh. Okay, because the Warden was lifting a hoof to grasp the end of the spear, holding it. Okay. Chrysalis reeled back, staggering for a moment, wrong-footed as the strings of the blow. She held her chest, wheezing softly, a crack in her chitin, allowing a trickle of blue blood to escape. Bitch, she snarled, stepping a hoof against the ground. I'll kill you for that. You're dead. You're dead. You're a wounded animal, so you better fuck off. Chrysalis' horn glowed again, and her eyes seemed to glow with a manic fury. I want Swarm to just kill her. I want Swarm just to be the one killing people now. Like, they're both... Kuno and Swarm are literally killers, and it's fucking beautiful. I don't know, I'm not sure how Warden feels about that, but it's amazing. Kuno sent another bolt of magic at her, but the changeling queen just deflected it with a quick flick of her hoof, sending it smashing into the apple tree. The tree splintered in the center, and the air filled the cracking sound of broken wood as the tree slowly keeled over, crashing to the ground. Moving to unleash another blast of magic, Kuno was cut off by Chrysalis flicking her head and sending her own blast into the ground at their feet. A massive surge of energy unleashed from the spot where the magic hit, sending a blinding flash of light radiating outwards and pushing all four of them away from the spot of impact with its force. Dazzled by the blinding light, neither Warden nor Kuno were prepared for the sudden vicious blows that Chrysalis unleashed on them. Wasn't Kuno, I hope you called the princesses or the guard over. That's all I gotta say. Warden's head was instantly ringing from a series of 3 hits across his helm, and Kuno wheeled backwards as she took 2 firm hoof smash to her cheek and nose. Storm leaped at Chrysalis, intending to finish what she began with the queen's wing, but Chrysalis swatted her aside deftly, smashing the hybrid foe into the ground ruthlessly. Swarm, no! Kuno cried, snarling in anger as she rose to her hoofs and charged the queen. Chrysalis just smirked, catching Kuno's horn in one of the holes in her hoofs, twisting viciously and spinning Kuno right off her feet. Kuno was airborne for several long moments before she crashed headlong into the ground, stunned and dazed. Right. Our little family here better win. That's all I gotta say, guys. Author, if you're listening, you fucking bitch. Come on, how do you 3 expect to beat me? Chrysalis asked with a smirk, rounding on Warden, the last standing member of the family, the poor, broken Pegasus, last line of defense. Warden sniffed and then swallowed, tasting blood. He lifted his spear, testing the familiar weight. Chrysalis was standing several feet away, seemingly out of reach seemingly. Frowning, Warden reversed the spear, holding it point down. Interesting. Planning on bludgeoning me to death? Chrysalis asked, a sneer in her tone. Something like that, Warden said, taking a single step forwards. Chrysalis didn't even move, tilting her head forward, arm beginning to glow. Bring it. Warden's eyes narrowed under his helm, and he quickly brought the spear forwards and then threw it over his own back. His wings lifted just far enough to catch the spear, giving it a surface to rotate on. He caught the very end of the spear in his right hoof, his bad hoof, and let the inertia of the spear's motion carry it back over the opposite shoulder. Only now he was holding it at the very very end. With a quick flick of a hoof, Warden sent the point of the spear careening for Chrysalis' head. Chrysalis was momentarily stunned by the move, not expecting such a huge range to be crossed by the spear. However, she was in time to duck, bringing her head out of the line of the spear tip. Her horn, however, was not. The tip of the spear still sharp after all those years, sitting in the closet. Scythed through the first half-inch of Chrysalis' horn before the cutting action stopped and the sheer weight behind the blow finished the job. Chrysalis' horn was immediately sheared off, right in the first arch of it, sending several inches of broken horns spinning to the ground where it landed, point down in the grass. I'm hoping that deactivates her magic. I'm hoping that causes some magical damage. Chrysalis snarled in pain and surprise, her hoofs flying up to her head as she screeched in absolute agony. Blue spurts of blood pumped from the broken horn, spilling down over her face, dripping from her chin slowly. She spread her forelimbs, lowering her head and breathing heavily, her entire form rocking back and forth with the intensity of her breathing. Her mouth gaped as she tried to catch her breath, errant sparks of magic spilling from her broken horn. It, Chrysalis stammered, her eyes clouding as she started to collapse, her entire form twitching as she lost strength in her forelimbs and fell flat on her chest. Oh, so is her horn just a weak spot? Question mark? Wooden dropped the spear from his bad hoof, wincing in pain as he hobbled over to it and picked it up in his good hoof, holding it aloft and then leaning in to push it against Chrysalis' throat. Chrysalis stared up at him, teeth baring in pain and defiance. Do it, she snarled. Do it, Kuno said quietly from behind, spitting out a stream of her own blood. Kill her. Wooden put his weight behind the spear, preparing to plunge it into Chrysalis' chest. Do it, a third voice said. Okay, Warden is trying to make a good example now. Do it, a third voice said. Warden froze, his ears playing back. He looked back over his shoulder to see Swarm dirtied and bloodied, watching with a vicious expression on her little hybrid face. Her eyes were glowing that vibrant green in her new, half-changeling, half-pony form. She looked positively demonic. She looked almost evil. Warden frowned, staring down at the queen for several long moments before shaking his head slowly and turning away. No, she's defeated. Killing a defeated prisoner is the act of a tyrant. It's an act of protection, Kuno said quietly, his eyes darting. You're protecting your family. She tried to kill us, Warden. She tried to take you from me. Then you do it, goddammit. And she failed, Warden protested, waving a hoof firmly. Do you remember how I found you? It was my mercy for you that led to us being together. She's not me, Kuno strained, shaking her head firmly. She's a tyrant. Warden growled, leaning over to whisper heatedly into his wife's ear. Look at what it's doing to Swarm. Like, that's what, in the scheme of things, Warden cares about Swarm. Kuno's eyes wandered to her daughter, the little hybrid clamoring for the blood of a defeated foe, and her gaze softened. You're right, she whispered, deflating, sitting down on her rump and staring at her forehooves. Swarm, come here. Swarm gave a pollutant huff, looking back and forth between the defeated queen, face drenched in blood, and her parents standing together. Lowering her head, she stepped over closer, frowning deeply. Kuno gathered up her daughter, brushing her off with a firm pat of her hoof. Look at you, you're all changeling. I got angry, Swarm said quietly, wrinkling her nose deeply as she shivered. There was no flash of flame, but her entire form seemed to quiver and melt, leaving her as the gray and blonde filly that she had always been. Why aren't we killing her? She asked plaintively. Because killing is wrong, Kuno said, though it sounded like she didn't even believe the words herself. Even if the person is truly evil, then killing someone when they are defenseless, makes you evil. I don't understand, Storm said plaintively. Let's just kill her. Yeah, let's just kill her. Just kill her. Come on. You'll understand someday, Kuno said, biting her bottom lip. Fools, Chrysalis snarled, launching herself from her prone position. One turned, putting himself between Chrysalis and his family, defending them. There was some kind of blow against his side, and he staggered a step. Feeling a nicely speck of pressure pushing at his chest, his breath caught in his throat, and he frowned. Kuno screamed. Swarm screamed. Okay, what happened? Warden frowned thoughtfully, staring down at his chest, eyes widening as he got sight of a few inches of black cutting protruding from his chest, inserted past the hole in his armor where his leg leg of it. A small trickle of red blood was slowly spilling from the underside of it, making a mess of his white fur. Frowning, Warden sat down on his rump, blinking down at what he realized was Crystal's detached horn, embedded in his chest. The blood was starting to make a mess of his armor. Shining armor. What did I let him if he got the armor all dirty? Where is shining armor? Warden swayed and then collapsed. Kuno's eyes narrowed slowly, and lightning seemed to flash behind them. Swarm, she said, trying to keep her voice level. Hold her. Storm's gaze hardened and she nodded, her horn glowing with a vibrant green light. A pair of magical shackles seemed to materialize around Crystal's forelimbs and neck, holding her in place. The queen struggled but was held fast. Kuno is angry now. Kuno is the one angry now. So is Swarm is also angry, but right now they're both angry. And that is a powerful duo you don't want to fuck around with. Kuno advanced on the queen, her chest heaving with suppressed rage, hooves grinding into the ground, her wings buzzing angrily. You! I am your queen, Crystal shrieked. You will obey me! Growling, Kuno drew one of her hooves back. Green flames danced along the length of it as the limb lengthened and stretched, forming into a long, jagged spike of black chitin. Even as Kuno lifted her free hoof to rest on Crystal's shoulder. A minute ago, you were telling us to kill you, she said quietly. Crystal's eyes widened and she spluttered, trying to escape, struggling to squirm backwards. Kuno tightened her grip on the queen's shoulder and then shoved the lance of her right hoof into her chest. Yeah, just kill her. Like, she commanded it. You just kill her. Come on, that. Crystal stiffened as the pointed spire of chitin pierced her already weakened chest, creeping against her breastbone and deflecting past it, digging deep into her. Immediately, she coughed up a gout of blue blood. Kuno snarled, dragging the point out and then shoving it back in it with all the force she could muster, sinking the pointed through the queen's breastbone and directly into her heart. Crystal stiffened, eyes wide, with mouth in a silent O of surprise before she slowly collapsed onto her side, her eyes going lifeless and blank. So she is dead. I'm hoping this doesn't affect Swarm in any way. Kuno pulled the spiral of chitin from Crystal's chest with a very disgusting sound before she shook her hoof. A flash of green magic removing the blue slicked chitin spear. She turned, galloping towards Warden's prone form. Swarm growled, lifting the queen's prone form and then sending her careening through the broken apple tree in a spray of wood chips. Warden's eyes were already starting to glass over, and his breathing was extremely shallow. A single trickle of bright red blood was spilling from the corner of his mouth. Kuno was already starting to sob as she surveyed the damage. Warden, stay with me, Warden. I'm here, Warden managed to whisper through. He didn't lift his head, cold. Warden, Kuno almost screeched. Stay awake. I'm awake, Warden muttered, his brows furrowing deeply. Hurts. I know it hurts, hon. I know, Kuno said, gathering him up into her hooves and rocking him back and forth, slowly tugging off his head to kiss soothingly at his forehead and face. I'm here. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm here, Kuno assured, trying to stop her tears from splashing down over his face. You know I love you, right? Warden asked wearily, brow furrowing slowly. I know, Kuno assured, rocking him back and forth some more, laying her cheek on his own and rubbing against him anxiously. I just broke down when I felt that you didn't love me anymore. I knew it was just a spell. I knew, Kuno blubbered. I knew that it was just a spell, but it hurts so much that you didn't love me anymore. But I do love you, Warden assured, trying to lift his head to nuzzle against her in assurance. Hold on, Warden, Kuno screeched, rocking him back and forth all the more intently. The royal guard will be here soon. They can help. No, they can't, Warden muttered weakly. She's killed me. The stupid bitch killed me. No, Kuno protested, shaking her head, sending tears scattering everywhere. You're not dying. You can't leave me alone like this. Every pony dies, Warden said, heaving a soft sigh and the coughing faintly. Don't cry, Kuno. I love you. I know, Kuno wailed, squeezing him even tighter with her hooves, rocking back and forth. I know you love me. No, I really, really love you, Warden protested, pushing at her weakly with his hooves. More than just love, I super love you. God damn it, Warden, stop being romantic right now. I know, Kuno blubbered, sobbing brokenly as she squeezed him against her chest. I love you too, Warden. I can't live without you. Don't go, Warden, don't go. Oh, that's true, huh? That's true. She can't live without him because she needs love to survive. I forgot about that. Damn changeling. Warden shook his head, giving a pained expression. Every pony goes sometimes, but you made my life greater, made it bright and happy. Don't cry, Kuno. I don't like it when you're sad, he murmured, a teardrop spilling down his cheek. Smile for me, Kuno. Tell me that you love me, please. Damn. You're already calling it quits, Warden? Are you shitting me already? You always do this shit. Fucking grab a hold of your fucking life and tell whatever the fuck force is telling you to go fuck itself. You barely even started living with her. Let's start with that fact. As you know, it's been 5 years. You barely started living with. You barely bought a fucking mansion like a minute ago. Fuck you. Kuno sobbed all the harder, shaking her head rapidly. No, 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 Warden, you can't die. She wailed, slapping her face with the hoof. You can't. Warden's form relaxed imperceptibly, and he gave a slow exhale. Warden, Kuno said quietly. Warden, wake up! She cried, sobbing as she rocked his form back and forth. Wake up! I love you. You have to let me tell you that I love you. Kuno bare her tongue so hard that she tasted blood. As she laid her head on his chest, she could hear his heartbeat, ragged and slow, thumping against his chest. It beat once, twice, and then it went still. Damn it. Fuck me, Warden! Come on, don't die on us like that. It beat once, twice, and then it went still. Kuno stiffened, her eyes widening, bottom lip quivering, as she shook Warden slightly, as though his heart might still start beating again with emotion. Warden, Kuno whispered brokenly. Warden, I love you. You can't go. Warden remained limp and unmoving. Wake him up, Storm yelled from next to her. Wake Daddy up. Kuno turned to look at her daughter, tears streaming down her cheeks as she shook her head, pulling her daughter closer. I can't, honey. He's gone. God damn it, man. No! Some bullshit! Wake Daddy up, Storm screeched, stamping and flailing her hooves as she started to cry. Wake him up! Kuno turned away, tears splashing down across the grass rapidly as she tried her best not to just throw herself on the ground and wail in pain. Wake him up! Heal him! Storm screeched, clawing at her mother hysterically. Wake him up! Kuno stared at Warden's prone form, her ears playing back. A shaking hoof lifted to rest over the horn embedded in his side. She bit her bottom lip and then grasped around it. The end of the horn was slippery with mingled blood, and it took Kuno 4 tries to get a good enough grasp over it to tug it free. It slid out, catching on the flesh in the ragged, ghastly hole it had created. Kuno tossed the horn aside, rising to shaking hooves, leaning over to touch Warden's side with her horns. Swarm, honey, give me your power. I don't know how, Swarm cried, shaking her head. Just touch your horn to mine, Kuno murmured as her horn started to glow. Are you gonna fix Daddy? Storm asked, stepping closer to do as told, laying her horn against her mother's. Their tears mingled, shining bright on Warden's mirrored armor. I'm going to try, Kuno whispered. God damn, man. It's better wake him up. Motherfucker. I'm already sad as fuck. You just died, man. You can't just die like that. You're the main character. Fuck you. Actually, you and Kuno are. So is Swarm from this point on. Kuno's horn lit up and she focused on healing them, closing her eyes against the sudden blinding light she was producing. 5 years of love energy started to pour into Warden's form. Sheer magical energy focused on healing them. Oh, I totally forgot. She has all the energy from those 5 years. His flesh knitted together, shards of crystal embedded in his sides popped free and flesh cinched up behind it, leaving tiny scars behind. The ghastly, ragged hole in the side started to slowly close, healing right in front of them. It's working, Kuno gasped, sounding surprised. She started to falter though, her magic starting to fizzle and her vision darkening. Help me, Swarm, Kuno muttered, her legs growing weak. I'm helping, Swarm protested, brows whirring deeply as she slowly collapsed onto the ground and passed out. Kuno barred her teeth, redoubling her efforts. The entire world was starting to spin crazily around her. Her vision darkened as she staggered, helplessly losing her mark. Thudding down hard next to Warden's unmoving form, with her last ounce of strength, Kuno lifted a hoof to lay against one of Warden's. A teardrop fell down her cheek. No, Warden, wake up. I love you, Kuno sobbed softly before succumbing to the drain of attempting to heal him, surrendering to the darkness. The end. Alright. Hopefully next time, Warden's all well and good. 5 years of love energy. God damn, I forgot she had that all sorted up. I'm not sure how much Swarm had, but Swarm has high energy because she's a little full. But god damn it, Warden, you just died on us, you fucking bitch. I'm mad at you, Warden. I'm mad at Warden at the moment. But fucking Christ, thank the Lord that Kuno is powerful as fuck when it comes to, you know, a changeling. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching, listening to what you guys do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, Warden's fine next time, and hopefully Kuno and Storm are fine. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching, listening to what you guys do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. I just said that. Anyways, bye-bye.
100,000 stories have filled my head as I look for the answers in what I've read. Secretly waiting for my life to change.